You are doing everything right. You are showing up to the gym 3, 4, maybe 5 days a week. You are tracking your macros. You are choking down protein shakes that taste like chalk dissolved in milk. You are hitting your targets. And yet, the next time you carry grocery bags from the car to the kitchen, your arms feel like they belong to someone 20 years older than you. You climb one flight of stairs, and your legs remind you that something has quietly gone wrong. You look in the mirror, and the muscle you remember having, the muscle you are actively working to preserve, is not there. It is smaller, it is softer, it is retreating, and nobody at your doctor's office has said a single word to explain why, because explaining it would require admitting that the entire framework of advice they handed you is missing the most critical piece of the biological puzzle. What I am about to share with you is not a new supplement trend. It is not a marketing angle invented to sell you something shinier than what you currently have. It is a well-documented cellular mechanism that has been studied in peer-reviewed research for over 2 decades, referenced in gerontology journals, replicated in clinical trials at major institutions, and almost entirely absent from the conversation your personal trainer, your general practitioner, and your favorite fitness influencer are having with you. There are 2 things I need you to understand before we go any further. First, the protein you are consuming is not the problem. Second, your body has stopped listening to it. Those are 2 very different biological realities, and the gap between them is exactly where your muscle is disappearing. Here is the analogy that will change the way you think about everything. Picture a massive construction site. Raw materials are arriving constantly. Trucks are pulling up, dumping bricks, lumber, and steel. The supply chain is perfect. Every truck arrives on schedule. The problem is that the site manager is asleep in his trailer with the door locked. Nobody is reading the delivery slips. Nobody is signing off on the work orders. Nobody is telling the crew where to put anything. So the materials just pile up outside the fence, and the building, rather than going up, slowly starts to deteriorate from the inside. That is precisely what is happening inside your body after the age of 50. Every protein shake you consume is a delivery truck. The amino acids are the bricks, and the site manager, the molecular signaling system inside your muscle cells responsible for initiating the actual construction of new muscle tissue, is deeply, stubbornly asleep. The scientific name for this condition is anabolic resistance, and it is the reason that the diet and exercise strategy that worked perfectly for you in your 30s and 40s is producing almost no result now. Anabolic resistance is not a fringe theory. It is a reproducible physiological state, documented in research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, the Journal of Physiology, and numerous gerontology-focused publications. What it describes is a blunting of the anabolic signaling cascade in aging skeletal muscle. In younger adults, a modest dose of protein triggers a robust and measurable spike in muscle protein synthesis, the biological process by which the body assembles new muscle tissue at the cellular level. In adults over 50, that same dose produces a dramatically attenuated response. The signal is sent, but the receiver is turned down so low that the message barely registers. The mechanism at the center of this process is a protein kinase known as mTOR, short for the mechanistic target of rapamycin. mTOR functions as the master regulator of cellular growth and protein synthesis. When properly activated, it acts like the site manager waking up, reading the clipboard, and sending every crew member to exactly where they need to be. In an aging body, mTOR activation becomes sluggish, inconsistent, and frustratingly easy to miss. Here is what nobody in the mainstream fitness world is telling you. The activation of mTOR is not triggered by protein in general. It is triggered by one specific amino acid in particular. That amino acid is leucine. Leucine is not just one of the 9 essential amino acids your body cannot synthesize on its own. It is the molecular key. It is the specific chemical signal that binds to upstream regulators of mTOR and physically forces the pathway awake. And this is where the advice that has been handed to you collapses completely, because the standard protocol you have been following was never designed with the biology of your aging metabolism in mind. Stay with me, because the actionable solution to this is coming, and it is more precise than anything the supplement industry has ever handed you in a tub with a cartoon bicep on the label. The fitness industry has spent decades telling every adult to consume 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight per day, split across multiple meals, ideally centered around a post workout whey protein shake. Let us look at what that actually delivers at the molecular level for someone over 50. A standard 20-gram serving of whey protein concentrate contains approximately 2 grams of leucine. That sounds reasonable until you examine the research. A 2012 study published in the Journal of Physiology and subsequently replicated in multiple trials established that the leucine threshold required to meaningfully activate mTOR and initiate muscle protein synthesis in older adults sits between 3.5 and 4 grams per serving. Not 2, not 2.5. 3.5 to 4. The dose you are getting from the shake you have been drinking every single day after your workout is biologically insufficient to wake up the site manager. It is like pressing a doorbell with a dead battery. You are standing there, you are doing the motion, and nothing is happening on the other side of the door. This is not an accident. Protein supplement manufacturers have a financial incentive to keep serving sizes accessible, palatable, and low cost per unit. A 20-gram serving is easier to sell than a formula engineered for the precise biochemical requirements of aging muscle tissue. They market to the broad population using research conducted primarily in young adults whose mTOR pathways are already primed and responsive. That research does not apply to your body. Your biology requires a different threshold, a different strategy, and a completely different tool. You have been handed a solution built for a body you no longer have, and the industry has been quietly cashing your check anyway. The research supporting leucine-enriched essential amino acid protocols for older adults is not new. Researchers at the University of Texas Medical Branch in Galveston, including the laboratory of Dr. Douglas Paddon-Jones, one of the leading voices in protein metabolism and aging, have published extensively on the concept of the leucine trigger and its disproportionate importance in the aging population. Their work, along with parallel studies from research groups in the Netherlands and Japan, demonstrates that older adults can achieve anabolic responses comparable to those of younger adults, but only when leucine is delivered at the threshold dose and ideally in the form of free-form amino acids, which bypass the digestion step entirely and appear in the bloodstream within 15 to 20 minutes of consumption. The full solution is almost within reach. Give me 2 more minutes of science and you will have everything you need. This brings us to the second molecule that changes everything. Beta-hydroxy beta-methylbutyrate, commonly called HMB, is a metabolite naturally produced in the body when leucine is metabolized. It is not a stimulant, it is not a hormone, it is a small molecular compound that does something critical. While leucine and your EAA matrix are flooding the bloodstream and forcing the mTOR pathway into action, HMB simultaneously suppresses the opposing mechanism, the muscle protein breakdown pathway, a process mediated by enzymes in the ubiquitin proteasome system. Think of it this way: you are now building and simultaneously preventing demolition. One compound wakes the site manager, the other locks the wrecking crew out of the building entirely. A meta-analysis published in the Journal of the American College of Nutrition, reviewing data from multiple controlled trials, found that HMB supplementation produced statistically significant reductions in muscle protein breakdown markers in older adults, particularly when combined with resistance exercise. The effect was most pronounced in individuals over 60, which means the more time has passed, the more this compound is doing work that your body has quietly stopped doing on its own. Now, the third and most commonly overlooked piece of this system is vitamin D3. Not because it builds muscle directly, but because without it, the machinery inside your muscle cells literally cannot absorb the amino acids flooding in from your EAA protocol. Vitamin D3, when maintained at adequate blood serum levels, binds to the vitamin D receptor expressed on skeletal muscle cell membranes and regulates the expression of genes responsible for amino acid transport and cellular uptake. Research published in Calcified Tissue International and supported by clinical data from the European Prospective Investigation into Cancer and Nutrition found that adults with serum 2,5-hydroxyvitamin D levels below 30 nanograms per milliliter demonstrate measurably impaired muscle protein uptake and significantly higher rates of sarcopenia. The therapeutic threshold for muscle protection is above 50 nanograms per milliliter. The average adult over 50 in North America tests between 18 and 28. That gap is not a minor shortfall. It is the missing spark plug that makes your entire anabolic strategy misfire, regardless of how well you execute everything else. You can flood your body with leucine, EAAs, and HMB. And if your vitamin D3 is depleted, the receptors on your muscle cells will not open the door. Here is the exact protocol, and this is what the supplement industry would prefer remained buried under a mountain of generic whey tubs. 45 minutes before your resistance training session, not after, before. Consume 4 grams of free-form leucine alongside a full-spectrum essential amino acid formula, providing all 9 essential amino acids: isoleucine, valine, lysine, threonine, methionine, phenylalanine, tryptophan, histidine, and of course leucine itself at the threshold dose. Take 3 grams of HMB calcium salt at the same time. The reason you take this pre-workout rather than post-workout is grounded in physiology. Resistance exercise dramatically increases blood flow to active muscle tissue. If your bloodstream is already saturated with free-form leucine, EAAs, and HMB at the moment that blood flow peaks, the delivery and uptake into muscle cells is dramatically amplified. You are using the cardiovascular response of exercise as a biological transport mechanism. Post-workout consumption misses this window entirely. The free-form format matters because it requires no enzymatic digestion, meaning peak plasma leucine levels occur within 15 to 20 minutes, placing the mTOR trigger at exactly the moment the muscle is most receptive. For vitamin D3, have your serum 2,5 hydroxyvitamin D tested. If you are below 50 nanograms per milliliter, which the majority of people in this demographic will be, supplement with 3,000 to 5,000 international units of D3 daily, alongside a meal containing dietary fat to maximize absorption. Pair it with vitamin K, 2 in the MK, 7 form at 100 micrograms daily to ensure proper calcium metabolism and to protect cardiovascular tissue as your levels rise. Retest at 90 days. Your goal is to reach and sustain above 50 nanograms per milliliter, not borderline sufficient. Solidly above 50. For sourcing, look for EAA formulas that explicitly disclose the leucine content per serving and confirm it delivers at or above 3.5 grams. If the label does not list the individual amino acid breakdown, the manufacturer is not engineering for therapeutic efficacy, they are engineering for a price point. For HMB, look specifically for the calcium salt form, listed as HMBCA on the supplement facts panel, which carries the most robust clinical backing across the published trial literature. Avoid formulas that bundle HMB into a large proprietary blend without disclosing the exact milligram amount, because 3 grams is the minimum effective dose and anything less is noise. Here is your challenge, and I want you to take this seriously. Today, before you begin this protocol, measure one of the following. Count your maximum strict push-ups in a single set. Record your grip strength using a simple hand dynamometer, available for under $20 at any sporting goods retailer or online. Or write down your stamina level and degree of discomfort on a hike or stair climb that is familiar and repeatable for you. Write it down physically. Do not rely on memory. In 14 days, following the pre-workout anabolic primer protocol, every single training session without exception, test yourself again using that exact same measurement. The shift you experience will not feel subtle, and it will not be placebo, because it will be grounded in a biological mechanism that has been waiting for you to stop underdosing it for years. Share this with someone in your life who has been putting in the work and watching their body ignore it. They deserve to know that the framework they were given was built for someone 20 years younger than they are, and that the gap is not a character flaw. It is a dosing flaw. Subscribe and turn on notifications now, because the next video is going to expose something about a specific food that virtually every adult over 50 is eating daily for heart health, something sitting in your kitchen right now that is quietly and measurably accelerating the exact cellular mechanism that makes anabolic resistance worse. The research on this has been contested at the industry funding level for over a decade. It will make you question everything currently on your grocery list. You do not want to